Cheers, Britt.
Cheers, Chris.
I'm still getting used to decaf. I mean, I gotta tell you, you know, yes, Diana has said, my wife, I love going out in public with her, and she hates it, because she still hasn't seen Borat, so she has no idea what my wife. And then Jedi starts saying it, and Diana has no idea what's going on. You know, I've tried to give her decaf before. She said, "What's the point?" I'm like, "I hear you. I understand what's the point." But at this point, it's just more the creature comforts, not necessarily the buzz, just the, you know, having a mug in my hand, like having that semi coffee-ish flavor. I got used to it. I got used to it enough. I found something that worked for me. What are you drinking?
I'm drinking blue bottle coffee with a splash of my milk creamer.
Your milk.
Milk. You know, you like milk. You know.
But like an.
You know, I keep vegan as much as I can, but yeah, I like my silk creamer.
Well, you know, hey, there's no judgment, even if it was even if it were cow drops, cow juice. It doesn't. It's not my life, not my mouth, not my body, not my anything. So I'm like, you knock yourself. You have at it. I'm the worst vegan ever, because if other
vegan ever.
Well, because if
Why,
other
did you try to recruit everyone else into the cult?
But see, that's the thing. Is like that's what gooble gobble gooble. Yeah, no, that's usually what people expect, right? And so when I, you know, if I ever got, you know, if it was overheard by the vegan community council, that's a non-existent entity that I know of, or maybe it is, and I'm accidentally name checking them.
You have to tell people it's non-existent. You know,
yeah,
non-existent, guys.
It's non-existent.
I definitely don't know for sure.
Yeah, definitely not. But my hope is that I can at least say, hey, this is me, but it's me without being judgy and telling you what to do, which is like not the opposite of what you hear from a lot of people that take that stance, but I just find that to be a little extreme. You know, when it plays out that way. So yeah, that's I got my silk heavy cream here.
Oh, do you know, I actually almost, do you know what, can I do it now? Just
yes.
Like be rebellious. And
I don't know what you're gonna do. Britt, what are you gonna do?
I'm looking at my phone. I'm gonna text during a stream. I'm gonna openly like unapologetically text during a stream. I know everyone's just like, I never look at my phone when I stream. Well, good for you. I do. I'm looking at I try to hide it, but you know.
No, don't hide it. Like, see, I'm printing Papa Bear has modeled a prototype for me to try with Jedi's bed. Like these little shelf. So this is a draft going on downstairs. It's almost done. Yeah, no, it's coming across really clean. That's at a 0.3 millimeter layer height, 10% infill, adaptive cubic, and on this print, this is on his. Papa Bear's not here. I'd ask him. Hey, Fotis, good to see you, and Monsoon, Josh, and Liz, and Gasoline, and Blue Harvest Toys. And everybody. That's okay. It hasn't.
Camera
it hasn't started popping yet.
Or do you have eyes on that?
No. The camera is a part of the printer. So Papa Bear modeled this. This would normally take him on his printer. Oh, it's done. I'm gonna go grab it.
Okay.
But
I can hold down the fort. You want to go get your print?
I figured as much. Yeah. So it would normally take like 9 hours on his printer. It took me under 3. So it's like on the Bamboo Lab. It just. You know, I know Fotis Minutes all like, wait, you're not printing more of my stuff? I'm like, I can't hang your stuff off the side of my daughter's bed. Okay, I will leave. Don't mess this up for me, Britt. I'm counting on you.
Well, that was a poor choice, Chris, because now I'm at the helm. Hi, chat. How are you guys doing? Welcome on in. It's Sunday. It's a beautiful Sunday. It's actually a little rainy where I am. I'm into that. I don't know if you guys are into that, but I love a little bit of rain. So welcome on in. I hope you guys are having a day as beautiful as you. I appreciate you guys being here. Has Liz. Oh, good. My internet wife is here. I can stop acting up. Leave Britt alone with us. He didn't leave me any, like, the clicky things. So, unfortunately, it's just us talking. Yeah, exactly. Wait, see you, girl. What's going on? Good to see you. Aaron, how are you? Blue Harvest Toys. You guys. a nice thing for you guys to hop in and say hello. Hey, I know these people digitally. You do, and do as I get to see you. Gonna give you a high five in person. Krusty, how are you, dear? Good to see you. Who else did I miss? Jojo. I just hopped in over here. I didn't see all of the chats going up here, so forgive me if I passed by. Gaslin, how are you? Fotis, hello. My favorite Pirillo, my favorite SithLord, same stream. Wow. Wow. You're crazy, girl. Wow. No notification at all? That's so sad. How are you initiated rather into the Sith side of the Force? Cookies, obviously. Cookies. We don't just say that. We mean that. Oh, quick. Everyone stop. He's back. Hang on. He's back. Act right. Hi, Chris. Hi. What's going on?
What did I miss?
We didn't plot any kind of scheme to
overthrow me. Overthrow.
Yeah,
this is now the SithLord Britt
definitely
Rillo channel.
Sith Britt Rillo.
Sith Britt Rillo. That's So this.
Oh, that doesn't work.
All
right, show us what you got.
This is what I got. So I needed something, and I've got. I can't wait for the. When is the next season of Rick and Morty coming up anyway? I don't even know. Oh, you don't? Oh, wow. Okay.
I don't. It's a really petty reason why I do.
Really? Hang on. Can I ask what the petty reason is?
Yeah, it's really stupid. Like it's nothing deep. It's nothing, meaningful in life. It's just. So my best friend from childhood, he tried to get me to watch it. We do not have the same sense of humor anymore that like we did when we were kids. And I said, give Bob's Burgers a chance. And he watched the first season. He was like, it's really rough. Like, it's really, really rough. I was like, I get it. The first season's tough to get into. It's every season after that just gets better and better. I kind of had to give it like a second chance too to warm up to it. And I tried Rick and Morty. He's like, you have to do it because I watched Bob. So you got to try Rick and Morty. So I tried, and I cannot. With how many times they say each other's name, it's such a stupid thing, but like, Rick, Morty, Rick, Morty, Rick. It's like half of the dialogue is just them screaming each other's names, and it's just one of those irritating things that just like eats away at the back of your brain. You're like, I can't watch this.
All right, that's
like
fair.
My father watching, what's it called? Wheel of Fortune, and everyone clapping drives him crazy. I don't know what it is, but he gets triggered.
Wow.
He gets so triggered. And when people are like yelling and screaming and all the claps and stuff, he's like, I can't watch
Can't do it.
There's no way they're that excited. It's so disingenuous, and it irritates him.
Interesting.
So I was like, give me your 3 best episodes. And I watched the 3 episodes he told me to watch, but just the amount of time. Now you guys are going to hear it. You go back and listen.
Yeah, now I'm like, I'm going to have like a scorecard, like, okay, there's 14, 15. God dang, we're in one scene.
It triggers me.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry.
Thank you for ruining
I'll give it another
Rick and
chance
Morty.
Eventually.
No, you won't, Britt. That's okay. You don't have to. You won't. It's okay. There's a
like
lot. Yeah.
In Star Wars media, then maybe I'll give it another shot.
I go back and watch Star Wars instead. So this is what I did. I did not do this. Papa Bear did this. I printed it. This would have taken 9 hours on his printer in basically draft mode. It took me 2.5 on the bamboo, so I did it this morning. And it's designed to basically, there are slats in Jedi's bunk bed. Fotis Mint! Thank you for that cheer. I caught that, and I thank you, everybody. I'm sorry I missed you coming in here this morning. I had to do something, and then Britt briefly hosted as I walked away to get the print. Didn't expect that was going to finish then. But anyway, welcome in, one and all. Blue Harvest Toys is asking, what's Star Wars? It's a great question. And I already know you know. He's a fellow collector. And now he has a 3D printer, too. He streams on Twitch, Blue Harvest Toys, and he's also on YouTube. Yeah. Although I keep trying to pull him to be more on Twitch than on YouTube because I feel like the community aspect is stronger in the Force here. Zach is asking, what's a Brit? Brit, do you even know what a Brit is? Do you know what is a Brit? A person. There you go. You have an answer. They're from Britain. From Britain.
Shot in the dark.
We have a Brit. A SithLord Brit has requested. I've heard that sound clip so many times, like an otherwise forgotten thing that I said eons ago is now seared into my brain. So it was designed to be a shelf, back to this, and I wanted it large enough so, and then there was a lip so that she could put, a glass of water, her glasses down, but it was specifically, this is where it gets geeky, Britt. He is a Brit, by the way. Blue Harvest is. So it was designed so that the R2-D2 nightlight, this nightlight R2-D2, does
Oh, that's
stars, like colored stars on the
cute.
ceiling, and I couldn't find a place underneath it, and so that's the reason it has the this particular
The
area the way
lip
it
on
was.
it.
So I think there's
Cool.
it ended up, this part was not wide enough. This part needs to be a few millimeters wider, especially as it got towards the top. It got really tight, and then in the final version, there's going to be like rounded corners up here and then down here, because that you don't want sharp
Right.
edges, up because it'll be on her side of the bed. You don't want her to like poke herself. So theoretically, this I'd be able to print, hopefully in Polymaker, the poly PLA Pro white is what I want, because she's got a white bunk bed. So I want this to be white, so that it's closer to matching as it is hanging off the side of the bed. So for first draft, I'm pretty happy with it. And the nice thing is
That's not bad.
I can donate this to like the local store or whatever. They won't know what it is. Like you don't need to know. It's just something that, oh, you could use it for this, you could use it for that, because I don't think there's any other use cases around here for us. But yeah, I used the Polyterra green, army green, for the prototype, just because I was like, okay, it was loaded up, and I figured that'd be fine. But anyway, that's my practical print of the day. Oh, the day. Not very. I'm sorry. I should not be as practical. I should be more playful. Because you find, actually, I would say, is cosplay, this is a question really, is cosplaying playful or practical, or both? I mean,
Playful.
okay, so it's more playful, but you're building something for another reason, as opposed to just printing it out for what it is. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't say that cosplaying is the equivalent of a bed shelf or anything like that, but like, I've got some Star Wars busts that I'd recently done, and those are definitely playful. There's no use for them, as opposed to the process of building something to dress up in or dress up as.
I mean, here's the thing with cosplay stuff: is any of it, it's a fandom or a character or a story or something that you love very much. Any of it can be displayed, right?
Right.
You can say that, if I'm putting it up in my house, it's another use for it, right? Like it's a daily use, daily entertainment, daily enjoyment. It's art. You have it up on the wall, you enjoy it. But there are some ways to get practical uses out of some cosplay things, some cosplay items.
Like
it just takes
swords?
planning.
Swords.
Like swords.
Those are
yeah.
very practical. Stabbing.
Yeah, like the actual, like clothing items, for sure. I have purchased completely, ordinary clothing items from stores that I already go to. I've used tons of things that I already had in my closet, for cosplays that I've made. So I have that dual purpose, but it takes planning. Like you have to think those things through. You have to do a little bit of research.
Yeah. Have you
And
ever
planning into it, get more use out of it. But for sure, I think it's more entertainment. It's much more just
playful
for the fun of it, for
right.
the joy of it.
Right.
Much more playful. For sure.
Have you ever? I'd imagine you could do this in New York more easily. Have you ever gone out in cosplay without realizing you were in cosplay, or just like okay, you do.
All
okay.
the time.
And do people like just assume you're going to a con? Do they
No one
just
looks
they
twice.
ignore? They don't look twice. Okay.
Like the joys of living here, right? Like no one, you're a weirdo. That's cool. I'm too cool to like recognize that or acknowledge it. So like we keep on walking. It's a whole thing, like the whole celebrity culture, right? I mean, it sounds silly, but it's just kind of when this is your life, you're just used to it. So you can always tell the difference between someone who lives here, or someone who's new here, rather, or someone who's visiting, because when they see someone like, oh my God, that's that actor, that's that comedian, you can always tell because people like, and they like walk up to him like, trying to like get a selfie with them real quick and like sneak it in there, like walk up shaking and their voice is all cracking, and you're just like, bro, calm down. He's literally here every day getting his coffee, just like chill. He's a regular person, puts his pants on one leg at a time. Then you can tell all the other New Yorkers are just kind of like, it's almost like the more we blow you off, the cooler we feel about ourselves.
Right.
So we will absolutely not acknowledge you at all. It's just like, by the way, I'm famous. Yeah, cool story. Don't care. Anyways, I'd like a black coffee. Like, just the more I can push you off, the better it is. So you can definitely tell. Like, people act weird. It's like, don't bother me. If you're gonna get between me and like the subway station, and you're gonna like ruin my day or make me late for work, like I'm gonna get mad. If you're gonna try to like steal my bag, you're gonna upset me. But if you're not bothering me, you're just being weird on the sidewalk, like do your thing. I'm gonna get to where I'm going. I'm gonna be on time. I'm safe. Then I don't care what you do.
So
I really don't.
You're training me so the next time I go to New York, I can more fit in. I better fit in. Like in Seattle, never carry an umbrella. Like, I mean, even unless it's like downpour, like that is like the number one. Like, do not
uncool thing.
It is so like, trust me. Like I go to other, like I've traveled before and it's a sprinkle and people I'm like, okay.
Yeah, it's like people in Florida too, right? Like that doesn't faze them. They're just like, I'm just gonna run. I'm just gonna get there real quick. Because if you wait, everyone says it in every state, but really in Florida they do. If you wait 15 minutes, the weather will change.
Yeah,
it is true.
Yeah,
it is true.
It's too humid down there. Way too humid.
Agreed.
I could not do Florida. I mean, I've done it before in brief spurts, but beyond that, as much as I would love, I think, to retire somewhere near a Disney park, I think that would be pretty wild. Because I would go. That would be like if I could figure out retirement and Disney parking all the time. That would be awesome. No, Britt is not my wife. No, that is not Jedi. Her handle is SithLord Britt. Her name is Sith. Okay.
I'm not the wife.
Not my wife.
Not the wife.
Wife.
I've never heard her voice. She's very cute. Like,
yeah.
She's very cute. Has a very effeminate spirit and presentation about her. Yo, it's not me. I feel like just like listen for a couple seconds. You're gonna be able to tell.
Wait,
it's not me.
You're a woman on the internet, and we're on the same video together. We must be dating. That is the way it goes, right? Because that's the only explanation, the only possible logical explanation when a man and a woman or two people show up together in the same video is that they are together, right? That clearly.
I forgot. It's because my little woman brain just because we're all like that.
I'm serious. It's just like it may have been an innocent question, but like it's seriously like
we're messing with you. We're laughing at your.
Yeah, we're laughing at you, not with you.
We are.
Sorry.
I'd lie about it, but that's awful. I'd rather just be honest with you.
She was just talking about how she's from New York. Okay, it's a very New York attitude. I really feel I should be an honorary New Yorker or an East Coaster because I feel I have a very direct, sarcastic, absolute candor and spirit. Having grown up in the Midwest, but grew up Italian in the Midwest. I'm a Midwestern Italian. Those are the worst, the Midwestern Italians.
Yeah, you're like halfway there.
Yeah, so I feel like if I was from the East Coast, I would just be unbearable. Like I would just be, you'd never get a word in edgewise, kind of like now. But the attitude.
Sense of bear. Is that a bear in the Force?
Are there bears?
Are there bear?
Are there bears in chat?
I see him now. We see you, bear. I just want to let you know. I sensed you. I felt you.
Well, nice.
Where's?
I'm looking.
What did Krusty say? I like what Krusty said a second ago.
Scroll back.
Interrupt and interject.
No.
This one. If
scroll back.
Cosplay improves one mental state, then it is a practical print.
Oh, that's what it. Yeah.
I can't agree more. I love that.
Oh, yep. There's the bear, by the way.
There's the bear.
Daddy Wazzy says, you basically described me, and my name is Chris, too. See, it's something with Chris. By the way, we just got rated by It's the Cool Factor, and now I got to know what the It's the Cool Factor was streaming today. Welcome in. I'm Chris. That's Britt. This is my channel. She's got a channel, too. Shout out to SithLord Britt.
Do they know how uncool we are? Did they check before the raid?
But
sorry.
That's the thing is we cancel each other out. So like the uncoolness, like together our forces, we're a dyad in the.
I didn't know that.
In the Force, there's been a vergence in the Force. Like, Photismint, thank you so much for the cheer. I'm telling you, because honestly, you had me on with Zach on your show, a stream to talk about. Mandalorian, and I think
So
there was something else. There was
it was like
another.
we
Was
did
it a
the
prequel?
prequels. We were going
Yeah,
to talk about the prequels, and then we
yeah.
ended up on like this tangent of just like fandom and being a nerd in general and
But
culture in America,
it
of how
worked.
people
It
approach,
worked.
being a nerd and identifying as a nerd, and then it was just like we're just gonna go with it because it was such a good time. Like I
That's
still
the
all the
best
time
way.
think about it. I was just like, that was such a good night. That was
It's
such a good time.
the
I would
best
love
way
to
to
do
do
that
it.
again.
It's the best way, and I'm like I've told you, Britt. Like I'm up for it. Like that's not even a problem. So this is I'm glad I'm able to at least return the favor, to have you on as a friend here, to join me on this Sunday afternoon for you, but Sunday morning for me, still Sunday morning. We've got a pretty good question here, and I think it's an innocent question. Horde72, can someone explain cosplay? I don't get it. I understand, for example, you like Batman, you dress up as Batman, the Batman convention, but you know I like steak, burgers, etc. You don't see me or others dressing up as steaks when we go to the grocery store, dress up as a mug of beer at the bar or at the car show. Okay, so Britt, it's a reasonable beginning to a question, like explaining cosplay to somebody else, and maybe you think a steak is a character, like I Horde 7 too. If you believe that beer is a character, okay. If you believe that steak was living at one point, there's your vegan assertion for the minute. If no one's stopping you. Didn't Lady Gaga cosplay as steak? She had a meat suit.
Well, yeah, she wore a meat dress, but that was a
Yeah.
political statement.
Okay,
Yeah.
that was political then. So why cosplay?
So why cosplay?
Yeah.
It's a fair question. I think it's a fair
I think
question.
it is a fair question. Wexter, hey.
It is. Sure. A lot of people might have a disconnect to that. How you grew up. So I grew up in a super religious household, so we didn't do the whole Halloween thing.
Oh.
I know a lot of my American friends, is more like pushing the edge of cult, but we'll touch on that another day. It was
No
really
worries.
like super strict, like we don't mess with that. We don't watch Disney because it has magic in it. Like that kind of a household. I'm sure everyone's kind of met someone like that. That was my biological mother, unfortunately. So we didn't get to celebrate and participate in all of the Halloween things that a lot of American families do. It seems just like such an ordinary thing. It seems like a pretty innocent thing to do. So the very little bit that we did, it was generic, it was homemade. They didn't want to spend any money on it because it was not important to them. Whereas all my other friends would get these really cool, all these cool get-ups. They'd get to wear makeup and nail polish, and like I wasn't allowed to do those things. So what I got to do was just so little. And as a creative person growing up, even as a kid, like we were always crafty, we were always making, I was always doing something with my hands. I wanted to make something really awesome. So they left it up to me, and we could play dress up within our own home, but we didn't do it on Halloween. So growing up, it wasn't a big thing for me. And when I hit college, it was finally this chance to like, by the way, we're all gonna go out and party, like gonna dress up as Snow White but with big boobs, and you're like, all right, it sounds awesome. So we just do it because everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
And it was finally my chance to do it. And instead of going like a certain direction with it that all of my peers were going with it, it started to become like, wait, I can pick anything. So I could go out as a stormtrooper while all my girlfriends are going out looking, a little bit more effeminate. I'm over here just like, I could wear full body armor and go to the bar in this. It sounded so exciting to me because it's your chance to express yourself. And like I said, for me in my childhood, I didn't necessarily get to do that in the way I wanted to. So I kind of had to grow this love for Halloween and all the traditions as I got older. But it's a great place to express yourself if you're a creative person.
I think, no, I'm sorry. I identified with being able to dress up as Snow White with big boobs. That was something that I was also looking forward to doing.
And
Britt.
do it.
I'm
like,
waiting.
And if it makes you happy,
I am waiting.
High five. We're
Britt,
here for it.
I'm just waiting for that moment.
Right? Yeah.
I have.
It's exciting.
I did it. I did it a while ago. Not exactly Snow White, but it was was during the vlog days. I think did Liz may have shared that link. Yeah. So yeah, I've had fun with that stuff. Life's too short to not have fun with that stuff.
Yeah. And if you like steak, by the way, like I know you said it to what I'm assuming is to make it sound a little ridiculous, to make it sound a little bit out there. Like I wouldn't do something as crazy as this, as dress up as a steak to go to the grocery store. But I'm just curious, like if you find that much joy in it, right? Like, why not?
Yeah.
I know it's going to sound like, hang on, you're just being facetious, and I'm not trying to be. I really mean, like, how much of a laugh would that get out of you? My stepdaughter really loves bacon. She's always had this thing for bacon. She's kind of lost it the older she gets, but when she was younger, it was funny. Like ketchup and bacon. I don't know, you just like kids, right? I know, like two things that I'm like, no, thank you. But for her, it was just cute. So like we'd get her shirts, we'd get her stuffed animals and toys. It's just a way that she identified with something
Right.
that a lot of other kids liked. So, it would be, I feel like she'd still do it today, honestly. If she just showed up home one day and I was just like, I got you a bacon suit, she'd be like, that's insane, and would just laugh and would put it on and wear it everywhere. But that's because it's like a part of who she is and how she identifies, and it would just be funny, and she would just do it for the joy of it, not because it's like genuinely like I want to be a slice of bacon. It's just because people who know her and how she interacts with people, her sense of humor, like that would bring her a lot of joy. Well, even if it's just for an afternoon, it would bring her a lot of joy, and therefore I support that. So it sounds silly, but this chance to be someone else or something else, and not to get too deep, but my friends who are here have heard me say this before. Life is hard. Like this human experience is very difficult, is it not, Chris? Like there's a lot that goes into this. We're very complex creatures, and we live in a very complex world. We juggle a lot of things all at once, and it's very stressful, and it's very, very heavy. So for those of you who don't know me, for new friends, I used to be a paramedic firefighter, and before I had my kids and stayed at home and became a content creator. So like I've seen it. I've seen it, I've lived it, I've seen the heaviness that this world holds, and I've seen the things that a lot of people should not ever have to see or deal with. So when you see that side of life, you kind of want to balance it out, and you appreciate a lot more of the lighter side of life.
Yep.
Right? Like it's kind of when you've lost someone in your family that you start to realize, like just sitting down with a cup of coffee and a friend that you haven't seen in a long time really matters. So when you have that contrast, it holds more weight for you. So the daily of seeing the bad just made me realize, like I really want to have that playfulness, that childhood that I didn't get enough of.
Yeah, it's fair.
And just celebrate that, because as adults we're taught so often that like you're not allowed to have that playfulness. It's just like cut off. Like you're not allowed to experience that joy anymore. Why? Like I'm definitely that person who's going to push back and start asking people why, because I was told to think how to think or what to think all the time. And I'm tired of people telling me you're not allowed to experience this silliness or this joyfulness or this wholesome, just like getting to be someone else for a second. Why not? All of this other stuff is so heavy and so hard. I don't understand why someone else would want to take away someone else's joy if it's not hurting anyone else. That sounds very silly to be like, hell yeah, like dress up as a steak. If you really love steak that much, then like go for it. I'm here for it. Because are you hurting anyone? No. You have a little like, those like little $40 like foam kind of holds its own shape thing, and like it has a hole for your face and your two arms. Like do it. If that's gonna get like the guy in the butcher section, it gets your butcher over at Publix to laugh, like go for it. I'm all you don't have to film it, nothing. Just walk in, say nothing about it, like walk past him, order chicken though. I don't know, just do something stupid. Just don't order any steak. Just ask him where like the tofu is, like keep walking.
Hey,
but don't mention anything about it. Don't have anyone filming you. Just like act like nothing's going on.
Do it.
I just feel like that would be so funny, and then come back the next day laughing about it and see what his reaction is. Just bring a little joy into someone else's day. Why not? And it doesn't hurt people.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. It's an expression. Tech Titan says, like, why do you wear a branded T-shirt? It's a similar question, and by the way, thank you, Tech Titan, for your cheer. I know we're missing a lot of chat. I'm trying to keep an eye on it during the conversation.
I apologize, chat. I get into these little like
no, don't apologize. Don't apologize. So. You have nothing to apologize for. Everything you're saying is it's in line with a lot of the things that I say. I always anytime someone comes after me and tells me, oh, it's silly to like Star Wars or why are you buying toys? I'm like, and then I look at their profile and it's just a wall of sports crap. And I'm like, why do you put the irony here? Like, why do you sit there and watch other people be physical? Like, I mean, you do it because you enjoy it. Oh, because you got your reasons. I have mine. And it goes deeper than that too for sports, right? Like where you are. People take pride in that, right? People want to be, patriots. Okay, you love and support your country, great. You put a flag outside by your mailbox. That's how you express yourself. That's a form of your identity as a human and how you relate to other humans.
you go abroad, you find another American. Hey, you're an American too. Oh, I'm an American. And all of a sudden you have this connection with someone that otherwise would have just been a complete stranger. It's how we identify. It's how we have a sense of self, a sense of community, a sense of belonging. And that's a fundamental need of being a human. So, it's much more, again, it's that element of childlike play, and it sounds silly or immature to other people. But for those of us, again, who are secure in ourselves and our identity, we're totally fine playing in that area of, I'm fine with playing Space Wizard because it's a lot of freaking fun. And for a second, I don't have to think about bills or taxes or changes happening in my planet or politics or what other health concerns I have going on or the breakups going on in my I just get to be a Space Wizard for a second.
See,
a lightsaber.
Yeah, I had there was someone who knew me in a form. I think you wield a lightsaber better than I do. By the way, I never would want to face you down in a lightsaber battle, Britt. You win automatically by default. We got to make Saberillo. What is that? Someone had asked me, and he's someone who I guess knew me from a former life. I mean, I'm almost 50, but he knew me from a different time in my life, and he asked a question like, why? Why'd you get into Star Wars? Why did you do Star Wars? Why throw yourself into Star Wars? After all, I mean, because I was always into it, just never really as prolific as I came in later years. And I told him very clearly, and this just to underscore your point, it's the only thing that doesn't piss me off. Star Wars is the only thing that doesn't piss me off. Everything else on this planet pisses me off. Star Wars does not. So everybody needs something that doesn't piss them off, and
much more succinct than how I put it.
Well, but it's true. I mean, it's direct.
Joy,
it's like
switch that and just
I can have fun. I'm like
joy thing that I have. Sure,
that's and I've called it kidulting, right? Having fun. Like I legit watch cartoons on Saturday morning, like throw it up on YouTube, the old cartoons from the 70s, 80s, maybe 90s. Just to have them on as background, and just kind of, tune in, tune out. But like, even when I don't even like watching cartoons on Sunday, it's got a different kind of feeling. It's every day of the week has a different kind of feeling. And, especially because, when you're an adult, right? Monday and you go to work in a traditional kind of construct, a 9 to 5, any kind of job, Monday is typically not a fun day because you've had 2 days of just farting around, and then you got to buckle down and you got to take care of stuff. So inevitably, whether it's cosplay or anything else, like it's that freedom that you have to be closer to yourself, because very few people, how do I say this? For some, their work is their life. Their career is them, right? And I used to be that way. And then something changed, right around the time that my daughter was born. Something changed radically, and it changed in me. And suddenly I abstracted myself from the Chris that I was to the Chris that I am today. And so anytime I'm doing something on Twitch, I'm just farting around. This is just me messing around. I'm here to have fun. Hey, here's what I did. Hey, let's talk. Hey, let's do whatever. Hey, and I'm 3D printing. Hey, I'm hanging out, whatever it happens to be. But Twitch is not what I do. Twitch is an escape for me, but it's not something that I focus on so clearly, and that it becomes nothing but a job. And it's very clear when someone does something not because they love it, but because it gains them something else. And I do it because I love it. And if I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. That's my problem.
It started as a social thing for me, like a way of socializing with other people, because all day long it was me talking with my kids. And if anyone's ever even just babysat for a minute, just if you have no other adults to relate to or to talk to or to converse with, you're just like, baby talk all day long. I know some people like, don't talk to kids like they're babies, but whatever.
Right.
You talk to kids all day long or you get nothing back. It's like you just like crave that human contact from another grown up, another adult. And that was a way for me to reach out and make a larger circle of friends. And it was great. And then it went from a hobby and made a very long transition into work for me. So it still is enjoyable work, but we get a lot out of it. So yeah, and not all adults necessarily have to. I kind of wonder this too, Chris, like if some adults who are disconnected from like how we view the fun, the childhood stuff, if like people had more completed, fulfilling, like fuller childhoods that lasted a substantial amount of time. You know what I mean? Like everyone hit those milestones
Right.
with very little to no trauma. Like, are those the people who kind of grow up and don't have to revisit that? Because I know a lot of people that had their younger lives were, you know, relatively, I would say uneventful, but
Right.
you know, yeah, kind of, and they still have that very fun childlike sense of play. So I kind of wonder, like, what is this, like a multi-factor thing, or is there like one specific issue that makes adults kind of turn around and go, oh, I need to like revisit this childlike play?
Well, you know,
Or if there's some adults who just don't need that, or are they in denial that they need that, and we all should have that throughout our lives. Also, hi Raiders.
Yeah, welcome Raiders. And Kinnemer, thank you so much for the raid, and thank you. Kinnemer ended up posting looked like a Pride Maker Deck logo. They posted
Yeah, that was
Pride Maker Deck
awesome.
logo on Twitch.
We love
Or
that.
Twitter.
Someone asked for our saber colors.
Oh yeah, look at that. Is that your
And
Brit?
so I thought
Is that
this
yours?
is the Brit saber.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the Brit
So
saber.
if you guys 3D print and you guys want to find this is on printables.com. You literally type in Brit saber. This was made by our lovely friend Erin. So yeah, this is the color of my hilt, like my actual hilt. This is my saber. But
it looks good.
Yes, I mean,
is that what? By the way, JoJo had said, "Oh yeah, that's a beautiful color. That is a beautiful color."
You guys know what this is?
Is that blood red, blood of my enemies, or whatever it is? Yeah, I haven't tried that yet.
Yep.
Haven't tried that yet.
You guys know that's my saber color.
It's a nice color.
It's gonna be blood red.
That is a very nice color. Very nice color.
This brings me joy. See, Liz. Okay, so Liz is an example of one of those people who had a full, complete, healthy childhood and still in adulthood.
Yeah, but see, the thing is, I mean, I feel like I don't know if it was normal, abnormal. I don't know what my childhood was. I just know that inevitably, things that as a kid, you have certain access to resources, and you learn what you like and what you don't like. And so, like, the older I got, the further away I got from the things that I just did not like. And like, cause I didn't have any reason, and I came closer to the things that I enjoyed. So I remember, vividly going and getting Star Wars figures as a kid, right? Getting a Star Wars figure, and you only had so much budget, right? You couldn't get, unlimited stuff. So now that I have discretionary income, I take care of all the bills. Everything's covered. Everything's paid for. I'm responsible. I'm not one of those so-called man child. That upsets me. Some people say, "Oh, you're such a man child." I'm like, no. I'm getting stuff done. I take care of my responsibilities first and foremost. But that gives me the ability and the freedom to also do something that I want to do because I enjoy it, because I have to be shackled to a job, or I have to be shackled to responsibilities that I can't escape. I'm not going to just, I'm not going to abandon those things.
Your responsibilities.
Yeah.
I'm going to neglect my responsibilities so I can have more toys. Like, that's obviously
it doesn't make sense. Like, I would never abdicate my responsibilities. So, like, even I think JoJo was even saying, sorry we piss you off. I'm like, you don't piss me off. You can ask Britt, ask any streamer. As much as this is easy for you. I'm just saying, in the viewing construct, it takes a lot of work to stage what it is that's here, right? You have the setup. I got stuff going here. I got stuff going there. Coordinating Britt, coordinating schedule, getting her pulled in, making sure audio works, making sure video works, making sure we kind of know what's going on, et cetera, et cetera. So that takes work, but so that by the time it happens, it looks like, oh, they just jumped on a computer and they're good to go. I'm like, no, you don't understand all the things that can happen in a streaming scenario, in a content scenario. Because anything that can go wrong will go wrong, and you can ask any streamer. So it's not the outcome of something that upsets me sometimes. It's the process by which I have to get to that outcome, which is one of the reasons why, and we were talking about this even beforehand, I don't do a lot of big prints. I don't do a lot of lengthy prints because I always worry. The longer the print takes, like, if this was going to take me 9 hours to print, I'd be like, maybe we can do it a little smaller, because I would worry. And that maybe not about this one. This one was going to be pretty easy to print, but like, I would just worry about a failure. And it's not that I don't, I know failure is a part of it. It's part of the process, but I want to try to set the stage for as much success as I possibly can. In the bigger prints I've just seen with other scenarios, I'm like, oh man, I don't know, Britt, I'm not you. I'm not living on the edge. I'm not you. I'm not crusty. I'm not half y'all. Like, I can't do it. I'm trying.
Right.
The bamboo X1 carbon is getting me over the hump, because I can do big prints, these big prints, but not have to worry about the time investment, because I'd rather have something screw up sooner rather than waiting like 8 hours. So that's my, it's not a philosophy, it's just one of the reasons why I have not done a lot of larger prints. One of the reasons. Plus, where are they going to go? What's the reason to do it, right? The busts make sense. Now I'm trying to keep my eye out for other Star Wars busts. I know they're out there. I don't know where they are. I've got to find them. So I've got a Darth Vader. I'm looking for different characters, right? Admiral Akbar from Wexter, he went to bed. Just did Queel. Got a Yoda, Darth Vader, Cad Bane. I got to dive into Fotis's archive and Wexter's archive too to see what busts they have. Although I'm out of that filament, I want to try to stick with the same filament for the busts so they kind of fit into a theme. You know, not different colors, but just, you know, maybe different sizes and different characters, and it'll be a nice little collection. So yeah, I
look great.
Yeah, I honestly, I've been happy with them. I'm really happy.
Good, like the way that you have them arranged. That whole arrangement has like a good flow to it.
Cadence,
actually.
yeah. So so I'm hoping to find other models to like realistic models to print, so that I haven't done it. I haven't looked for a lot of them. Hey, Papa Bear, good to see you, Papa Bear. I gotta show something. Looks like. Big Jano, it's more about trusting your printer to do the job, not necessarily disliking large prints. Okay, Big Jano, that's fair. That is fair. And the Prusa Mini has been good. It has been solid, and I've been very blessed to be able to try the X1 Carbon as well. Sorry, Britt. Papa Bear's here. I wanted to let him know it finished. Took about 2.5 hours. It works really well. There's some model discrepancies. I was going to talk with you offline. This ended up being a bit tight, though, especially as it got up towards the top. This part was really tight, so it probably needs to be expanded by a couple more millimeters, two or three, or two possibly, for the next iteration, and then of course the rounded edges. But anyway, Papa Bear, thank you so much for modeling that practical print for me so that Krusty could be proud. Now, speaking of printers, I've mentioned my two printers. Britt, what printers are you rocking these days?
So I actually started 3D printing in resin prior to doing FDM. It's just where I was comfortable because I had already done some resin casting, like AB UV resin casting before. So I started with the Anycubic Photon, right? Entry level, no bells and whistles, nothing too crazy, and learned, you know, the whole learning how to support and slice, you know, the files in a quality way, because I definitely started off not doing it in a quality way, but a way that I felt all right about it. So I actually bought a second one. I bought the wash and cure station, and I went to FDM printing with a Creality CR10 was my first printer in Ender 3, because I got Froggy one Sunday and was just like, let's just go get one of those $99 ones and see what everyone's making a big fuss about. And recently just got gifted a Focus Odin 5 by Focus. So I have my little... I have like a workstation set up now where I have a layer of all the FDM printers, and then I have a layer for all of the resin printers. So
nice.
That's what I'm working with right now. My next purchase will definitely be a Prusa MK3.
Nice. Going Mark III, huh? By the way,
sure.
we just got rated again. Beard Goblin 1.
Welcome.
Brought in a couple. Kinnemer brought in Snowcat 1413. Beard Goblin brought in Marionette 117, and coupled that nerds together. Curious to know what y'all were doing. Look at all these. This is what I'm saying. Look at all the stars. Because it's Star Wars, right? The stars or us? No, Britt's the star. I'm just a puffball that looks like a microphone. Look, seriously, like. I look like a microphone.
No, do you have any issues resin printing in the same room as you hang out in?
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I do not. But also I was comfortable with resin before.
But what about ventilation?
Yeah, so quality ventilation. I am in a room that I have like I guess you'd call that like a bay window setup. I pop open my windows all the time. I have a way, I know it sounds silly, but like from my firefighting days here, I have positive pressure ventilation within my house that if I open a certain set of doors and shut a certain set of doors and windows, I actually get airflow like actively pushing through my house. So I'll turn that on, and then I have a HEPA filter that I turn in the direction of the moving air, so it just helps continue that airflow throughout my house. Yeah, I have air filters on the back of them. The less you leave it open, the better. I don't do it when my kids are like actively in the room. I won't open everything up and clean things with them in the room. I typically do things during the day when they're not here, or I'll open it up at night when they're in their beds, just because, you know, kids are sensitive to everything, right? So no, I already did some UV casting anyway in my house. I always did everything close to, you know, the windows. I always pop the windows open. But I get questions a lot about the safety of resin printing, which I get, and I appreciate that people are concerned about that. And I want people to be concerned about that. And I'm totally comfortable with answering those questions anytime you guys have them. But also, I don't want people to be so afraid of it to the point where they're just like, nope, not for me. Like, if you're interested in it, you have a curiosity about it, there's absolutely a safe way of doing it. Ask the questions, do the research, find it for yourself, and do it safely. But if you're like so to the point it's causing you anxiety, or you're just like, I can't even, like, then don't do it. If you think in my space I don't have a good way to do this, then by all means, like, don't do it. You can absolutely print an FDM. You know, there's high quality machines, there's ways of getting certain details or more detail out of your printer. So if it's to the point where it's causing you any kind of anxiety, or you think, you know, I have these pre-existing health conditions, I have respiratory issues, I have skin sensitivities, absolutely avoid it. No hobby is worth your health or your well-being. But if it's been on your mind and you're a D&D player, you've really had this passion for painting, you want to get into miniatures, and it's just, you know, you guys know what I mean, right? That little thing that's in the back of your mind, like when you see something you want to buy and it just kind of like sits there and lingers and just kind of like eats away at the back of your brain, and you're just like, I gotta buy it. Like, you can't sleep or get any peace until you buy it. If it's one of those things, then it's calling to you, and there's absolutely a way that you can do it safely. But for people who are just like, oh, I'm just doing it because everyone else is peer pressuring me into it, like I said, don't do it. Like, I'll be the first person to tell you, don't let anyone pressure you into a material that you're not comfortable printing with. I happen to be comfortable with it because, like I said, I was casting with resin for ages before I did 3D printing, so that just made sense for me. But just know that that's not typical. It's usually backwards. Most people will start in FDM and then move to resin. But if you've worked with resin before, then you understand it, then, you know.
Well, it's not like, you know,
not the essence of hell.
you shouldn't bathe in it. Like, you know, resin's not, it's just not something to, you know, go drinking. But yeah, it's I think the process for resin, it may be interesting for me a few years from now. I've been satisfied largely with FDM at this point. Yeah. And that may change.
And Ono Creates is in chat too. Ono is a good friend of ours. He started in FDM as well, started with an under 3, moved over to resin, and has found a lot of joy in resin, has kids also in the household, and found a way that worked for him.
And he does amazing miniatures. Well. Did you see?
Oh my gosh!
He had a terrain. Yeah, well, not just the terrain, but he had like the battle between Anakin and Obi-Wan on Mustafar. Like, it was incredible.
Yeah, that's right. I saw that.
So
dope. We loved it.
I may commission. Oh no! I said this. He was joking around one day, and I'm like, you know, that'd be kind of cool. Like, imagine, if you will, this diorama of a park, and I think he's the one that put this idea in my head. I think he put it out there. Imagine like a park, a diorama, just a regular park. You know, maybe some playground equipment, maybe, you know, trees and everything. A park, and in the park you have like stormtroopers and scout troopers and death troopers and Darth Vader and the Emperor, and they're all playing. Right, some are having a picnic, some are on the playground, some are taking a walk, and they're just all around them playing some you know frisbee golf or whatever. Like, the idea is this diorama with like stormtroopers. You know, the Empire takes a day off, right, and goes out and they do. Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't you? I mean, really, like, cute. I would love that. Like, I don't know what it, you know, like, just kind of this eclectic mix of, like, you know, of all these characters. Maybe it's just maybe it's stormtroopers and Darth Vader, right? Just the very basics, and some biker scouts, maybe. But I think that would be, I don't know how big it would be.
Like that.
But wouldn't that be, like, I mean, I think that I would, you know, I don't know how much that would cost to commission, but like that, my head goes to like something that you would never see, something that you could not buy, something that you would have to create. And Ono has certainly, he's wowed me. I'm like, dude, the skill, I mean, the patience and the skill that he has.
And he hasn't been doing it very long either, but he's a creative person, so it's like just another tool in his arsenal of, you know, to have that self-expression. Like, he's a creative person. I don't know if you guys knew this, by the way, that Ono's musical. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
he's musical. He's very musical, and his family is all artistic and creative and spunky and as bright as he is. So he's just a lovely person to know in general, but also he makes fun things. So if you guys have more questions about that, then Ono might be able to answer them too. But he's just gone in head first, no apologies, straight into the 3D printing world, and it's been really beautiful to watch him go from, can I ask about 3D printing, to like I'm
doing
making money off of this.
Nice.
Like, I
Wow.
know it sounds really silly. It's like not even my journey, but I found so much joy just like standing off to the side, just watching him go, just watching him do it, watching him take off and fall in love with it. So
that's pretty wild.
It's been really cool to see.
That's pretty wild.
I appreciate that. I love it. But yeah, Subsector, which by the way, hey girl, hey. Subsector said it because she hears me say it a lot too. Subsector also resin prints, and the way
gotta do that.
What is it? Nanu? Is that okay?
Oh no, no. This is the I grew up with that too. What was? I mean, that was Live Long and Prosper. What was Nanu? Was it the same hand gesture, or wasn't it like? And they used to shake their hands like. Was it? I can't remember.
I
remember them shaking their hands like that.
It might not be right.
I'm old. I remember more.
I mean well though. Just know that I mean well.
Yeah.
Yeah. She resin prints too, and she's been doing really cool things. She cosplays, but also does like artistic things, like what you have in the background there with the busts and stuff. And she can paint as well. And like I said, I struggled for a little while trying to explain to people how, like, you find respect for the material and treat it, with the kind of respect it deserves, but also not be so afraid of it that you can't use it.
But see,
and so I try to tell people it's like bleach. The closest thing I can tell you is like working with bleach. It has a strong smell. You don't want to sit there and inhale it. You certainly don't ingest it. You don't want it on your skin, but do people use it all the time? We use it in everything. It's in everything. Like all the cleaners, all the little grandmas with their little yellow gloves on. Like, do you want to bleach the whole house down and not open up the windows? No, of course you want to open up the windows. If it's irritating, one of the kids has asthma, do you want to bleach the house with the kid in the house? No, probably not. It's just like you use common sense with it.
See, that's the thing.
Once you get to know it. So once people get that common sense of, oh, okay, it's a caustic substance, it has a strong odor to it, and you feel comfortable handling it, then go for it. But that's been the closest way that I know that people can make that comparison, to something else that they already recognize, so that resin doesn't seem so foreign and so abstract and like, oh, I hear all these crazy things about it. Like bleach would sound crazy too to you if you had never heard of it before and never worked with it. And people are like, don't let it touch your skin, but it's like a little wet liquid. It touches your skin for a second. Like, oh, that's not bad. That's not a thing. But if you leave it on there for an hour or two without washing it off, it's going to burn a hole in your hand. And you're like, oh my, it hurts like crazy.
Right.
The caustic substance. But most of us are familiar with it. That's the only reason why I use that as a comparison. It's not the exact same, guys. It's just the closest thing I know to compare it to so that people understand I have to be safe with it. Not everyone likes to use it, but a lot of people are comfortable with using it. So if that's a possibility for you and that's something that you want to do, then go for it. There's lots of ways to use it safely, but have a respect for it, even when no one else is looking, or if you're not streaming with a camera, right? Like looking at you, because I feel like that's when people really take safety seriously, is that even if there's no one watching you, still wear your safety gear.
Yeah,
always wash everything.
And you always should wash with dihydrogen monoxide. That's something they don't tell you. You need to wash your hands with dihydrogen monoxide. It is a big deal. That is H2O. It's it is the compound H water. See, you talk about respecting the materials, respecting these things. And I don't have a problem respecting. They just don't respect me. That's the problem. That's
You're
the
gonna
breakdown.
come up in my house and disrespect me? That's
you don't,
rude.
And they do that all the time. All the time.
So rude. Oh, Homemade Jam also. Hey, girl. Also has a contact allergy, so I have a contact allergy to it. I mention it every once in a while. You'll see I have pictures of it that I won't put up here, but I've shared it in my Discord. I have a true contact allergy to it. Not from using that specifically, actually. It's from getting gel nail polish. If you guys ever see the UV gel polish, it's actually just resin.
Really?
Yeah. So it's been, I know. Like people are always like, wait a second, what? That's the
so that's not good.
It's not good, is it? But they don't tell you that. They're like, oh no, it's totally safe to use.
Dude,
just don't touch it to your skin. And that's what people will tell you. But they touch it to your
No.
skin. They wipe it off with their little nail or whatever. It's like, it's not a safe product.
I'm going to tell
so I've been
Diana
getting
that.
gel polish since I was a teenager. I've been getting gel nail polish done.
Wow.
So it's been using gel polish for the last, 15 years that I finally earned a contact allergy to UV resin, which is all gel polish is. And so I will
had
welt
no
up.
idea.
Yeah, it's actually, I'll say it goes systemically too. Like I've had it touch just my wrist, and then my arm has blown up, my chest, it's gone down my back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, see,
I know
Diana
some people are
had
just
something.
like, oh, everyone gets a little red spot when it touches them. I'm like, no, this is, my body has a full-blown allergic reaction to it. It's
I need to tell Diana. Diana has, like, it's like this thing, a gel chamber thing that you're supposed to cure it with. And she was doing, I didn't think anything of it. I'm like, now that I know, I'm like, Diana, you don't want to be messing with this stuff, especially around Jedi. Like, I don't even know what's in regular nail polish, but I just learned something new, Britt. That is incredible. No, seriously.
I try to warn people of that because, like I said, it's not comfortable. Yeah, it's very uncomfortable exposing yourself. So I understand being fearful of, I don't want to splash this. I don't want to touch this. Like I said, I'm probably overly cautious when I do everything that I do. But if even I can continue doing it, Homemade Jam can continue doing it. Like I said, if it's to the point where you're like, I'm worried about my health, then please don't do it.
Yeah.
There's so much joy in FDM printing. There's so much joy in cosplaying and sewing and painting and art. Like it's this one thing, you don't have to do it. You're not going to miss out in life if you don't, print with UV resin.
Yep.
It's very neat. And if you would like to do it and you'd like to explore it, then go for it. But it's never worth your health or your well-being.
Yikes.
So yeah, absolutely. Like prevention is key. The less you touch it, the less you're around it, the better. But kind of like working in the EMS, you get like the really old fogies that have been there forever. Like back in my day, we didn't wear gloves. We just wiped the blood off on our shirts. You're like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Like I really don't care about these war stories. You get that a lot in 3D printing too. And people are just like, well, I don't really care. It comes off there and just wipe it off a second later and I'm fine. It's like, look, we know better now, so we need to do better. Why would you want to get a contact allergy? Like no one's going to think like, oh, you're so tough because you touch a bunch of resin. Like no one cares. We don't want you to be unwell. We don't want you to be hurt. So that's why we push for safety all the time, because when you see someone being unsafe, it's just like no resin print. There's no lightsaber. There's no bust. There's nothing that is ever worth me being like, yep, that was awesome. Another trip to the ER to, get around to steroids and stuff. Like there's nothing I could possibly print that's worth that. So you're most important. So safety first, health first. But for those who can do it safely, you have the means to do it, you're interested in it, you can absolutely do it.
And Fotis Mint I know a lot of people have been enjoying the conversation. Fotis did say that to keep this up, he says he's been having an awesome conversation. This has been awesome for him. I'm glad that Fotis, we're able to do this morning so that Fotis could be here, because he's in a way different part of the globe. Way different. And by the way, speaking of, you name-checked Homemade Jam, and she's another very skilled artist here on Twitch with a lot of... I think Marvel is her fandom, by and large, with miniatures and painting. And recently had done some Flintstones characters, printed those out and painted them.
Cute.
Just incredible. Like, just incredible.
We have a lot of friends in chat today, which if we all didn't get to say hi to you, know that we mean to say hi to every last one of you guys.
Yeah, sorry. Inevitably, when it's just me, it's easy, or when it's just you, it's easy to keep up with chat because you can control the direction of where you're going. But like inevitably, when there's someone on, the conversation takes priority, and so I'm always keeping a side eye. I've got my side eye out for making sure that chat is still alive. Or as Krusty said, safety third. That's me.
Don't listen to Krusty's guy. Subsector says, FDM is wonderful till you pick up a hot nozzle. Girl, one time did I do that, honestly.
Really?
Like, humans
you did?
are so good.
Really?
One time I was trying to, something like unrelated too. I was like getting something out of the fan and just like my hand went up and it just like patted the back of my hand and it was like, I know it's there. It's not like I'm unaware that the hot nozzle was there. It's just, I don't know. Sometimes you just don't think. You just reach out and grab something.
Yeah.
And Subsector's telling me about her injury. She's like, I was working with it. I had gloves on, or I was doing something with a tool. And for whatever reason, just wasn't thinking and just touched it right on her finger. She had to go get like Silvadine from the pharmacy. Like it was intense. She had a really bad burn. So you can get injured doing anything really, but
Oh, I
That's
can.
that's why we talk about it ad nauseum. Just we love for people to be safe and talk about their bad experiences so that other people don't have to go through that. I don't want Chris to ever experience what Subsector and I went through. It's like, if I can tell you this horror story, hopefully you can benefit from it. And you don't ever have to do that.
I think I've come close to touching it, like brushing it, but like very close. But I haven't had any accidents there. The most I've injured myself is removing supports. Like in picking, I've stabbed myself a few times. That has happened, for sure.
Yeah. Oh my God, stabbing yourself on supports and the nippers and
Yeah,
stuff. Like,
it hurts. It hurts so much.
That, right? Drink resin and poop munchies. Aaron, you troublemaker.
Hey, that's the way to do it, Aaron. You're doing it right. You're doing it right.
Path of 3D printing stuff, like, had 3D printing never crossed Chris's path, would your office still be about the same as it is now?
Yeah, it would. In fact, most of what is around here is not licensed. Most everything that I have. I mean, I've printed a lot of small things, smaller things, but they're not. It's not. It's inconsequential. Like printing a little action figure, right? It's fun, but I had licensed ones. Yeah. Yeah, I printed off a couple of these. This is the silver filament. I'm almost out. I'm printing with these now. I'm doing some of the Pirillo coins.
Battle droid. I sent you like a Lego version of it.
Oh, you said. Oh no, yeah, I didn't do that. No, I didn't do that one.
Okay, that's one you did.
Yeah, this is the Playmobil version of the battle droids. I looked at that one before, and I looked at it again when you sent it. I'm like, how could I do this? Like, I'm like, oh, I'd need to have supports here, which is doable. Like a bigger support, it is doable, and it is possible to do. I just haven't sliced it up and figured out where I would need to use supports on it yet. I have a feeling I will get there. Right, because but my other concern is the way that he had like built-in supports on some other pieces that just did not look like they would come off at all. That I'm just like, I'm not sure. I have to relook at that model. Thank you, by the way. We got a new follow in. Fotis Mint just gifted 5 subs. Thank you so much. And welcome in Digital Senior Tech. I'm having a conversation with SithLord Britt. And if you're not already following SithLord Britt, you should. She's here on Twitch. I think most recently you were streaming some SOTOR, correct?
Probably. Yeah. Minecraft and SOTOR. It might have been a gaming night for me, yeah.
Yep. Subsector, thank you for the cheer. My daughter is into Minecraft, and sometimes when I call her up, like, because they're currently traveling, she'll be back home soon. What are you up to? Oh, I'm playing Minecraft. She's in Minecraft all the time. So it's just the way it is.
That.
So she's always going to be
not only in Minecraft, but lately I heard that Little Jedi has been getting into the new Star Wars series, into the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.
Yes.
With Dad.
Kenobi.
Which is very exciting.
Yeah. I was surprised. I was pleasantly surprised when young Leia shows up in Kenobi, and right up front, she watched it. Even I think I told Diana, my wife. I told her, hey, you're Jedi's gonna like this, because I didn't want to spoil it as to why, but she just latched on immediately. So she loves seeing young Leia, and my belief is that Jedi finally, as much as we've had young girls in Star Wars before, it's not the first, but some a character of substance, like something, a character that is there as a part of the plot, et cetera, et cetera. She, I believe, sees herself in Leia in a way that she has not been able to see herself in any other character. Like, even, the older Leia, yeah, she liked, and Padme she liked, and Ahsoka, she loves Baby Yoda, of course, loves Grogu, but she sees herself in Leia, and for that reason, and that reason alone, Kenobi is one of my favorite series, because she enjoys it. She likes it. She wants to watch it. It brings her in. It draws her in. It brings her closer. So she loves seeing Leia in Kenobi. Loves it. And I'm very, very, very grateful. Yeah, not just a young girl, but a strong young girl. I mean, she's got such a character, such, adventurous, curious, not afraid to speak her mind, to call things out. And that's the same. I mean, Jedi, I'll be honest, will do the same thing. I mean, it's not just the, a potential precociousness, just she'll just lay it out, her truth. She'll just lay it out. And as much as Jedi can't read everybody around her yet, you know, she's not old enough to do that, hasn't accrued that experience. The fact that, you know, I've seen, there's one scene where she said, or Obi-Wan said, this is when they were on the Daiyu, I think the planet, and Obi-Wan said, your father sent me to rescue, or, you know, I'm friends with your father. And she said, grandfather, maybe. And then he goes, what? And she goes, nothing. And Jedi has done that. She's done this for years. I'll ask her, I'm like, what'd you say? Nothing. And she'll do the same thing, the exact same mannerism, the exact same everything. So it's really funny to see. It's hilarious. So I know she's got to see herself in young Leia.
I love
she
that.
has to.
I know that my camera's gone blurry, so I didn't
It's
want to
okay.
like turn it on and off just to like mess with everyone.
She's gone to the dark side. There you go.
See? I hate this camera.
It's all good.
Like with a passion, I hate this camera. It's so awful.
So I gotta ask though.
Yeah,
I was asking this. I was asking this, you know, before the show, but I think it's a relevant question to ask. How would you have felt? I guess, you know, younger, growing up, maybe Jedi's age, and she's 7, to see a character like Leia, or let's just say Leia's character in Kenobi. How would that? What would that mean to you as a female, as a younger female?
I mean, everything. That would have been everything to see someone more like me in a universe that I've always wanted to be in or participate in, or that I found joy in. It's like, you can be super creative, right? As a kid, kids have that mind to imagine them in those spaces, which is why we do pretend play. That's why we dress up. That's why we reenact and we imitate people, is to, you know, put ourselves in that headspace and to imagine. It's a very powerful way to play and to learn for humans. But to like have to take that element out for those who aren't as creative or imaginative to actually see a child there who's more like you, it's insanely powerful. I know for a lot of people, like, if you've been well represented, it's hard for you to imagine what it's like to not be represented. And if I can just like
say it, Britt, go for it.
I was gonna say, I don't want to like prelude it with just so I don't hurt anyone's feelings. Like, if you get your feelings hurt, sorry, I did it on Chris's channel and not my own.
Oh, I hurt feelings all the time.
Can I say it? Like, it's the Ghostbusters movie for me. Who got butthurt over that? A bunch of dudes. Well, you guys have been well represented in Hollywood. You guys have been well represented in the fandoms. You guys were well represented in the first Ghostbusters. That's all it was. And the second that there wasn't a single one of you guys there, it was... Was there a problem with it? It was actually very funny because did you say, I'm not even going to watch it. I'm not even going to watch it. Oh, you can't even sit through a single movie without one of you guys in it?
Hemsworth,
can you imagine what it's like being a woman?
I was laughing.
Fandoms,
no,
never
God,
seeing yourself in it.
Britt, I was laughing so hard. I was laughing so hard.
Very funny. They're so funny. Those women are so funny.
You know, it was but the one scene that cracked me up. There was a couple of scenes. With Hemsworth's character, and of course I've always been a fan of what's her name, Melissa? No.
Yeah.
Am I right? I'm blanking on her name. I'm blanking on her name. Oh my God, I'm blanking on her name.
Okay, I'll look it up.
Come on, is it
McCarthy?
Is it Melissa McCarthy?
Yeah.
Is it?
Right? Yeah.
I don't know why I'm thinking Melissa for some reason.
Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon. Kate McKinnon is so freaking funny.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I can't even get you as a person if you guys are just like, I can't laugh at her. Like, she's everything to me. She's so darn smart and witty. And she has that slapstick bit about her presentation with her body and her face. Like, I just feel like she gets it. She gets me when she makes jokes. I felt like that was a powerhouse team, and for people just to stop
to write it
and
off,
not even watch it or to judge it, and to just be like, just because I don't see a dude in there, it's like, oh, you had Chris Hemsworth, and I got a whole bunch of dudes who were like, oh, but he was like playing the dumb little, you know,
but it was awesome
plaything off to the side. You're
but it was
yeah.
What's
that like?
Yeah,
I
know.
The only person that's your gender playing the little sexy dumb thing over in the corner.
Like,
Tell me.
I got a kick out of it. I'm like, I was laughing my ass off. I'm like, When
And
he,
I was saying
oh my
he's
God.
funny and he did
Oh my
great.
God,
But
he
it was
was
like,
so funny.
how does that feel to have the only representation of you be the sexual creature?
I've never been that honest. I'll be honest. I've in my whole life, I'm the unsexiest thing ever. That's why I'm trying to director chronic my face. My face is getting director chronicked. So I'm trying.
Oh man.
I aspire to be the
Yeah.
sexy thing at one that I'm moving that way. That's what I want to be in retirement. No, but I hear you, Britt. That was something. You know, with today's media, you get a pretty. You can read people pretty quickly. Like, why are they saying this about the thing that I'm watching that I'm enjoying? Why are they complaining? Like, I don't understand. Like, I don't like. There's no legitimate complaint there. There's no legit complaint there, and yet it's the same people over and over again that are complaining about these illegitimate problems. Like, and that's where I have to I'm constantly going, what am I missing? Like, what should I not be enjoying the thing? I'm clearly enjoying it, so I'm not the one who has a problem. It was done well. I mean, this happened with Moses Ingram as well, my favorite Moses, and who's done a spectacular job with Reva, and we've only just begun to understand that character, but she's just so she's just as out of control as she is. She's got these moments when she's calm. That's when she's most frightening, right? Because you know she's out of it. Like, under the surface, you know she's out of control. So when she's calm, I'm like, she ain't calm, dude. She's just like, you watch out. And I'm like, I'm just telling you, I'm like, that to me is just like, oh, what is she gonna explode? So she's been doing a brilliant job. Young Leia has been doing a brilliant job. She just celebrated a birthday too, the other day.
Oh, cool.
Young Leia did. I can't remember the actress's name, unfortunately, yet. But I know that Jedi wants to cosplay at her or as her at some point. I don't know which uniform, which costume she wants to cosplay as, but
so many good ones. Alderani and anything is so regal and so beautiful. That's going to be a really fun thing to dress as.
She's.
I hope that, you know, if we ask ourselves too, you know, again, I can't remember the actress's name. I'm not really good with it, to be honest. I'm not great with people's names. I'm always just like IMDb real quick. Is that when we get to those places of discomfort, that we ask ourselves, like, why am I uncomfortable with this? Because a lot of that is built in. And I don't want people to run away. I'm sitting over here just looking at your numbers like a hawk, because, like, unfortunately, I'm going to say it out loud, you guys. The second I start on this topic, every time my numbers plummet. And I know that people don't want to hear it, and I know it can be be uncomfortable. And I don't mean to, you know, have like our, you know, your channel suffer because of this, but I can't apologize for being truthful either, because it's important to talk about.
Don't apologize, Britt. Don't apologize. First of all, don't apologize. Second of all, I ignore a lot of the numbers. I mean, there's some numbers. Okay, I'm watching this. You know, we get, like, you know, all that, but at the same time, I'm not doing this because I'm watching numbers. I'm not doing this because of hype trains. I'm not doing this because of giveaways. I'm not doing this to be the center of everything. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. I enjoy sharing this time with other people. I enjoy bringing other people on and chatting and having these conversations. And sometimes that means someone's going to disagree, because trust me, I've said many things that people disagree with. And I try to take a reasonable approach to try to understand, like, wait a minute, okay, we disagree. Why do we disagree? Where's there a discussion to be had? You know, Star Wars is it's been divisive, even all the way down to The Last Jedi, right? A lot of people didn't like The Last Jedi because of how Luke was portrayed. I'm like, let me tell you, as a middle-aged white dude who feels like he's been beaten down by life, I've never felt like a closer connection to Luke at any point in Luke's arc than I did with The Last Jedi. He was just done. He was done with it. He was finished. Didn't want to have anything to do with it. He's done. And I'm like, I get that. I understand that. I feel that. You go. It's okay. Family's important.
You're just bursting in through the door.
Yay! It's all good.
Okay,
so Monkey, I felt that.
Monkey, go follow Max. Thank you. Yeah, it's too important. I was saying, actually, my exact reason for having these conversations is that it's too important. I see 10. I know of 10 people, at least in this chat right now, that have offspring, effeminate offspring. And it's too important of a subject to not bring up every once in a while. Because
it is.
I don't want my children, regardless of which gender they identify as, to deal with the stuff that we've dealt with growing up.
Yep.
I thought the character was super cute. When I get to a point where I am uncomfortable, I'm just like, why didn't I like that? I always like to ask myself why.
Challenge.
Because
yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
challenge it, look
Yep.
at it,
Yep.
and inspect it. And it's an uncomfortable place for, a lot of people to be. Like, introspection is the hardest thing that we'll ever do as humans.
Well,
It's not comfortable to look at yourself
Britt,
and be like,
the
hang on
problem
real quick.
is it takes a great degree of self-awareness to have any degree of introspection actually go somewhere, because you can, if you're not aware of yourself, then all those insecurities are just going to be projected onto other people, and they're going to be projected on the outside world, and those insecurities are laid bare to the point where you can look at someone and their motivations and what they do, and you can tell exactly why they're, maybe not why they're insecure, but what they're insecure about. Like, they're insecure about this, because these are the perspectives they've taken. They've not recognized the value within themselves to be able to allow other people to have their own value and their own agency. And I see that happening all the time. I've seen it happening for years in social media. Years. It's never been worse. I can tell you that. Because people will, you come out and say, oh, Leia was great. And then someone will say, oh, she was a brat. I'm like, what the, were you watching the same show I was? Princess Vespa in Spaceballs was a brat. This Leia she was a perfect child. I mean, honestly, you couldn't have asked for a better child. Like, and her parents definitely knew this. Like, in the show, we're talking in the show, this character. And she even rejected the word princess at one point, and when she was talking with Kenobi. So I'm like, I don't understand what shows these other people are watching to walk. And I try to understand their perspective, and I listen. I'm like, well, why? But why are you upset? Why does this upset you?
Yeah.
Why is this upsetting to you? I just don't. I don't
Or at least
understand.
the chance to sit and like hash it out with other people, because it's never been
Yeah.
more easy to
Yeah.
disagree with people and to argue with people. Or like Red said, and I appreciate what you said, Red. Let me scroll back up real quick. The way I see it is that if people leave just because of something you're saying and don't try to see it from your point of view, then you don't want them around anyway. I'm so 50-50 on that. I'm so 50-50 on that, because when I was younger, you guys, which by the way, you guys would not like the SithLord Britt that you guys see here today if you guys had met me 10 years ago. I'm not the same person. It took someone being like going out of their way with their energy and their time to be patient with me, to help me understand why disagreeing in a civil way, in a proper way, was important. Because I as a person can't grow and expand my mind if I'm not willing to challenge those things. And there's so many, the thing too is that like when you're really insecure, everything challenges you. When you're really insecure as a person, everything hurts. Everything is a jab at you. Everything is a threat. And it's so easy now just to be like, oh, okay, well, delete, unfollow, turn off my phone, walk away, not pay attention to it. It's so easy to do that these days. And it's like, I'm so 50-50 on what you said, Red, because it's like, those are actually the people I want to talk to. They're exactly the people I want to talk to, because it was because of people that went out of their way, like I said, when I was younger, to say, hey, that thought that you have, that hurts people when you say that. When we jump to conclusions to say like movies aren't important, therefore I can say these crappy things about them. It takes someone to say, actually, stuff like this is important, because it's how we perceive the world. It's how we perceive ourselves. When we express something like that and we don't realize it's built-in misogyny, and you just say it and you're like, oh, it's not a big deal because it's just a stupid kid on a screen, and you just blow it off. Well, guess what? To a lot of people, that is a big deal. And until you consider that, we can't get better about it.
It's perspective.
And the same issues are going to continue. So
empathy.
It's like, I'm not the most gentle person in everything that I do. I can be that way if I put the energy into it, right, Chris? Like, we know I can call Chris and just be like, "Ma," and he's not going to be like hanging up. Like, I know that he can handle that, but I know not everyone else is like us too. So it's like, I want to have that conversation and want to have that dialogue with people as to like, why is it important that, someone just like craps all over, Luke and the character of Luke, when this character has mattered greatly to a lot of people for a couple of generations now, and then just like walk away from that conversation. Like, why is that hurtful? Why should we give a crap about the person next to us? Like, I feel like that shouldn't have to be said out loud, but unfortunately it does. Yeah, for someone who spent her career caring for other people, dedicating my life to caring for other people, not asking what your age, color, gender, religion, perspective on life was, it matters greatly to me that people can't disagree kindly on these things. So when they look at little Leia and they're just like, she was such a brat. Did you hear what her cousin said to her? Her older male cousin? I was embarrassed for him. When I heard his words, I was like, that's embarrassing. That's the brat people need to be talking about.
Yep. Nailed it.
Like, And everyone's like, oh, the little girl's such a brat because she responded. Excuse you, if those were 2 little boys, no one would have said anything about what Leia said.
Yep.
Like, challenge yourself and think, like, why do I think she's a brat?
Yep.
Would I have thought that if she was someone else? It's uncomfortable, but like, challenge it, because I didn't realize how many ideas and thoughts I had that were completely ass backwards, you guys, until I challenged myself. And like I said, it's not comfortable, but I can tell you that like the result on the other end of that journey is so worth it, that I can point out and say, hey, I understand why I felt this way now. And now I can do better, because there's kids behind me that are growing up with fewer of these problems because we had the gall to attack it and to talk about it and to work it out. So if there's something I can do to make someone else's life a little bit easier, like, damn, I'm going to do it. Because there's a lot of things growing up that were not comfortable as a nerd. As a nerd growing up, life was not comfortable. So if something as little as taking a jab at this little girl on screen and calling her a brat, I got called a brat my whole life, you guys. My whole life. And to tell a little girl that she's being a brat when my brother would do something right next to me and they'd be like, oh, he's going to be in charge one day. It was just like, how come I have to be more gentle in my presentation? Because that's what we're telling little girls. You have to be more gentle. You have to be more comfortable. You have to make people not feel so uncomfortable. But then I look back at like what her cousin said, right? The older cousin, what did he say? He said something snarky about how she's not really in the family, and took an ugly jab at her because she's not biologically a part of the family. That was messed up, actually. That's something really screwed up that you shouldn't say to anyone. And he didn't have any perception of that. He was weaponizing this fact that she was adopted. That's screwed up. That's a bratty thing. That's a stupid, small-minded thing to say. No one was like, did you hear that line? That was intense, even for a Star Wars thing. That was a messed up insult to try to attack someone. And the fact that she rebutted and was just like, meh, and held her own, and people called her a brat for it, was like, this is a problem. We need to look at that. We need to look at why people have a problem with Moses being out of control or angry or passionate. She's a force-sensitive dark side character.
Right.
You guys remember Kylo? Remember the guy who was slashing up walls out of anger? Yeah. She's controlled in comparison to him.
Well,
but because she's a woman and she's a Black woman, we're projecting what we've learned previously as humans onto her and judging her differently than we judged Kylo. That hurts. That hurts us all.
I completely agree. I mean, and here's the thing that this is where I don't understand. I really don't. We're talking about a galaxy far, far away, right? Long time ago, whatever. Galaxy far, far away with how many creatures, how many different species, how many different races? Like, the universe is bigger than just someone who looks like me, right? The universe is just bigger than that. It is substantially larger than that. And that's what I love. I love Star Trek because of how it's approached a lot of these issues and the way that Star Trek approaches these issues. It's always been that kind of a show. In movies, whatever the franchise, if you will. But I enjoy Star Wars differently. Star Wars is fantasy, but even in fantasy, it's like there's going to be a cast of characters that they're not all the same. It's where they come together, right? And like, is this person doing this character justice? And that answer is, as far as I'm concerned, at least as far as young Leia is concerned and how she's been written, yes, the answer is yes. As far as Reva, one of the sisters, I think, is she second? No, third. She's third sister. Sorry, I've known so many sisters from playing Jedi Fallen Order and Rebels and everything.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
A couple of them.
So
8, right? 8 or 9.
Yeah, I can't remember how many were total. But the is she bringing justice to this character? Is she is she breathing life into this character and making this character believable and doing everything that she can do with the script laid out and doing her job as an actress? And the answer is yes. Like it is immensely thrilling to see someone get so deep into their character. And that's I felt that way with a few different roles that have played out over the past few years with Star Wars characters, and I would say Moses has done a fantastic job with Reva. It'd be hard to see her played by anybody else. I'll say that. Impossible.
I love her. I saw the first picture I saw, like that we all saw, right, was like her profile that looks about like this, which if anyone's noticed, yes, I've only painted one hand. Calm down.
I didn't even notice.
Just like, girl, we saw that.
I didn't even
one
notice.
hand is like neon and the other one has nothing on it, so don't look at that. But we saw her profile picture, right? And like she has such a beautiful profile. I have this thing for noses. Don't ask me why. I like always, because I have this short little like thing on my face. My best friend had like this beautiful regal nose. It's just like I have this thing for noses. She has the cutest little like sloped nose, and then she has these beautiful lips and her facial structure, and then her hair. Like as a woman, right? I feel like someone else is going to be able to tell, or going to be able to like back me up on this. Is like the little hairs that pop out when you're trying to be functional. Like, hey, I'm trying to play some soccer, right? We pull up our hair, we do the thing, we mess with our hair. We're always trying to get all of it back and up out of the way, and everything that falls out, right? It's gonna be everything that like frames your face right here. But she has the braids, right? So like when you braid, it's like tucks in all the shorter hairs as well. So it's this like highly functional but still super cool looking haircut that's like, okay, let me get all of the little hairs pulled back, but then it's the mohawk style, the bouffant up here, right? That's puffy and still like effeminate but strong. Everything about that photo, I saw it and I was like, I'm gonna make that armor one day.
Nice.
It's just immediately like my toxic trait as a cosplayer. Everything I look at, I'm like, I'm gonna make that. I can make that. I could totally print that. Like, I need to stop doing that. I look at everything, it's just immediately like, I want to make it. I saw her and saw strength. I saw power. I thought like physically she was beautiful. And then of course you get to know her as a character, and she's a highly conflicted character, which human is not, which human doesn't have some issue going on, some kind of hurt, some kind of, justification she's trying to find for how life has wronged her. Like literally every character has a problem. That's what every story is there's a problem, they're trying to solve it. So what's her issue that she's trying to find resolution to? And I think we all have a lot of good guesses.
I'm going to dovetail that because I had a conversation yesterday with somebody, and he was mentioning like, some of the best villains are the ones who don't see themselves as villains. And so, and Riva is one of those characters who does not see herself as a villain. Like they don't see themselves as the quote unquote the bad guys, right? Like they are out, for order and bringing some amount of, bringing this chaos, to a close and just, order, right? And so she embodies that. And so like she does not, and all her motivations, she's like, dude, I'm just doing my job. This is what I believe in. And she does not believe that what she's doing is bad. She believes that the ends justify the means. So it's and you see that play out in her character. Her character is very human. Very human. And I think that's probably why I've been enjoying it so much, is that it's not the clear, the bad, they're bad, they're clearly bad. Like there's conflict, right? There's nuance, right? And I think that just adds depth to the character more than anything. It's not on the surface.
And Krusty hit it, saying misguided righteousness. I can't chef's kiss to that, because that's how I feel about a lot of people that want to make it clear cut and make it black and white. These are good, those are bad, Jedi good, Sith bad, because it's literally like the whole reason, if you guys haven't heard my story, is why I have fully leaned into I like the bad guys, because I've always been the person to say like, well, why do they feel that way? I don't understand. Maybe listen for a second to their story, because I think, what was it, like DuckTales or something when I was a kid, that they actually gave some of like the before all this crap happened story. And when I listened to it, she was like avenging her father's death, or something like taken from him, and he's not around anymore. So she's like trying to get back something that was rightfully his, that he created. And I was just like, that makes perfect sense to me. Why are we demonizing her? It's like she did all these bad things to get to that point, but she was wronged. So she's trying to recover something that actually is rightfully hers. So I remember sitting there, even as a little kid, just being like, that makes sense to me. So what else are people hiding from me? Like this distrust of everyone else just started in that moment. I was like, what other characters are not bad? And that's when it got very convoluted for me. And it was like, maybe it's not so convoluted. Maybe it's just that we're not listening to all of the characters and all of the story and all of the points, because we're not. We did turn on the TV. You get the good guy's point of view. Oh, you're just a bad guy. And there's, well, what are they up to? I don't know. It's just a bad guy doing a bad thing. We're going to fix it. And it's like, but there's a person on the other side of that. So like, what's going on there? So the more you get like people's backstories, the more you can identify and just be like, maybe it's not so black and white. Maybe they're not awful. Like we're all flawed. And right, Master Yoda was the first person to tell you that he fell short constantly. That he tried his darndest, but fell short constantly. He was the first person to say that he had failed. which I always appreciated that, he wasn't like, we are this council is perfect. We're perfect all the time. He was very humble in that way, which is why I always loved Yoda, that I felt like he was very real and realistic in his judgment, and always said, I'm trying to do my best, but when he would fail, he would tell people. Would say that, the Jedi would always just be like this misguided righteousness of, oh, well, we're the good guys, so nothing that we can do is ever
Right.
bad.
Right.
But I always like to use the first example of, you run around trying to manipulate people by controlling their mind and taking their free will. For any of my American friends, that's something that we pride ourselves in, is your personal freedom to not be manipulated, to be yourself, to have that autonomy of yourself. And so if you had someone running around going, you're going to think this, you're going to let me through, you're going to fail at your job and allow me to break this rule, you would look at that person and be like, you are not good. But that's what that's like one of the first things we learn, is that Jedi mind trick is that you can manipulate someone's mind and their free will. Is that good or is that bad? You don't see Sith running around telling people read their mind, but do you ever see Jedi running, or the Sith running around being like, you're going to fail at your job and let me through the security point and lose your job and your 401k and get fired? Like, you didn't see us doing that. We're just going to walk right past you and shove you up against the wall. Maybe not the nicest, but I'm not manipulating your brain.
Right.
So maybe I'm looking too far into it.
No, you're not. It's a slippery slope. It's like, well, it's fine. It's fine because the ends justify the means, right? And
sure.
and that's, but that is, it's from a certain point of view. And someone had brought up the quote again here in chat. Sorry, I'm watching it fly by, because you're watching it like, okay, they're trying to rescue, they're trying to do a good thing. So whatever they got to do this good thing, this good deed, they've got to do, right? Even if it means that they've twisted something. But it's that with great power comes great responsibility, right? And that's where you count on these characters to not be flawed, but they are. And that's what makes them so good, is that they are flawed characters, not these perfect beings.
Yeah.
And I like that. Like,
very boring.
Yeah, because that, to me, that's where I just kind of turn off. I'm like, it's not my thing. It's too perfect. But having these flaws, I think is critical.
Stormtroopers, they don't even get handrails. It's an ocean nightmare, yo. I know. No, I know.
Maybe one day.
That's where they definitely failed.
Maybe one day.
I know, like I said, that's always my argument. I know other people have heard me make that argument before, but
no handrails. Handrails.
No handrails.
That's your argument, Britt?
The good and the bad, the light and the dark.
Right.
That's what makes people and humans interesting, is that we're not perfect. We're quite imperfect. And it's the struggle for those who are trying to just at least be better. And yes, I know everyone's gonna be like, it's a balance. Yo, I know. I will be the first person to tell you, yes, I do believe that the whole point of the Force is about balance. Which is why, like, as a woman of science in this world and in my actual life, I'm very so I was a bio major first in college, and I swapped to basically therapy, licensed mental health therapy, as my undergrad, with a minor in bio and pre-med, because that's what interested me the most. So as a person who loves and respects science, for me, it's all about, like, in bio, you learn about everything's homeostasis. Everything loves to be in that nice window of comfort and balance. And if you throw it off either way, it's going to try to drag back to where, its comfort zone is. And it sounds silly, like, oh, maybe you're looking too far into it, but that's how I feel very much about Star Wars stuff. So I know, yes, I identify doing the whole, like, Sith things. If you're going to make me choose, like, I'm going to go the Sith way. I just really love it. I love their stories. I think they're cool. Their equipment's way cooler. But I do also like acknowledge as an actual person that, if we pull things too far to the dark side, like, naturally, from what we know of the Force, it's going to want to pull back to that balanced homeostasis. So in my real life, I'll tell people, like, balance in all things, moderation in everything that you do, because that's where that health lies. That's where the least amount of friction and pain and loss and suffering happens, is when we don't try to pull anything too far left, too far right, too far up or down, black or white. Whichever way you want to pull any subject, I will argue you that there is a health and a balance, and there's a judgment call for each of us to make that choice for ourselves, to land in the middle, to keep all of us in the middle. Because even if a large group of us pulls too hard one way, it hurts someone. If it's not us, it's going to hurt someone. So regardless of how big or how small the issue is, I'm going to tell you, moderation in everything that you do. Someone's like, oh, but drugs are bad. I'm always going to be the person to be like, stop, wait, we're going to have a talk about this. We're going to have a talk about this. We can't make things black and white, whether it be in Star Wars or if it's in real life. So yes, I know that I identify as SithLord Britt. You guys know me as SithLord Britt because for aesthetics and storyline choice, I just like the dark side. I find more interest in these things because I had to hide it for so long. So I kind of feel like that's also me rebelling against having to always be like the good kid, the
hang
good
on.
guy.
Wait. So you're
child.
Wait, you're both a rebelling, a rebel, and a Sith, like a rebel in the Empire. Is that like?
It hurts
the
sometimes.
dichotomy.
Every time someone's like, I'm a rebel, and I want to be like, yeah, because like I love the whole idea of like rebelling against a larger force, right? Like I really love that. Like rebel, fight the system, hell yeah. Then I'm like, oh wait, the rebels in this case were the good guys. Oh,
right?
Man.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry about that.
But yeah, I'm pulled both ways.
That.
It's like I'm like 49, 51 when it comes to the whole like, no, I think you should have that fighting spirit. You should question. You should push back. I feel like everyone should never just accept things blindly, right?
Yeah, I agree with that.
I do love that they have characters morphing and changing to more represent us in real life. I would have loved to be in Jedi's position and to have a little girl my age be on screen. Like there weren't a lot of kids, right?
That's my, by the way, like, sorry, Britt, not to interrupt, that's my daughter's name. My daughter's name is Jedi. Oh. So that's what Britt was just referring to. So my daughter's name is Jedi. So Britt was just looping and saying to be able to see Leia, the young Leia on screen as representation. I mean, seriously, it is exciting for me to see because now, I feel that she can own a bit of Star Wars, like I own it, right? I mean, I don't own it clearly, but like I have some. I'm tied to it in some way. It's just indelibly intertwined into not every fiber of my being, but like I just love it. I mean, I've always loved it. There have definitely been moments where I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I really like that as much as I like the other stuff, but. Still, it's just kind of like, it's not gonna disappear on me, and it's certainly not now. So to be able to have this character or this age of Leia, playing out on screen is I'm very excited for her. I'm excited for her, not necessarily for me. I'm excited for her because of what it means to her. Yeah, to have that. Yeah. So
Leia is so loved as an adult too.
Right.
Like I really, there's a lot of female characters in pop culture that people are just like, I hate her, I don't like her, blah blah blah. I can't tell you the last time I heard someone just be like, Princess Leia, hate her. Probably because they learned their lesson after a couple times of saying it out loud. Like I don't hear anyone. Do you ever hear anyone
not really
saying like, I hate Leia, I hate that character, it's the worst character?
Some people, but not
adult Leia.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Not adult Leia. Even adult Leia. It doesn't happen all that often, but there are some people out there that are just very twisted. So
yeah,
in my humble opinion,
when it comes to like reasonable people, friends, mutuals,
right. Oh yeah, no,
like,
yeah,
you don't hear that often. People love grown-up Leia so much, so I feel like we have that working in our favor, that we get to see her origin story and how she became that adult that we love so much. And I'm hoping that's going to give her that edge that people will still accept and love the little girl version, even though we're fighting against all of these other societal issues of people not wanting to like this character, this actress, this storyline. I'm hoping that will be that like force that will help give forward motion to people being a fan of Leia at all stages of her life.
Yep. Well,
all of the series and all of the movies.
That may have sealed the deal for my daughter. And by the way, K2 Design, I'm watching chat. I'm watching chat, but obviously I'm having a conversation with Britt and letting her drive.
K2, I never shut up, you guys. I apologize. I'm not making it easy for him. I'm purposely making it as hard as possible for him to converse with Chad.
Although that said, we are about at 2 hours, Britt. Like we've been babbling for a couple hours, so I don't want to suck up your entire weekend day. But
I'd sit here and talk for 10 hours. If
I would too. I'll be back. I'll be back again streaming tonight on my own at 6 p.m. I hope I have something to talk about. Great. Like it's going to be so difficult. I've talked about everything already. K2 Design Lab said the Empire considered themselves the righteous ones. We mentioned that, K2, so it's good that you're on the same wavelength. Trek Nerd says those are some subhuman weirdos that hate everything. I seem to run into them very frequently in social media.
Thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Oh, you're talking about me.
No,
you're talking about me.
No, not you. The weirdos who hate everything. No. That was definitely not a sub tweet or anything like that. Westry saying, growing up, I didn't just want to be a princess. I wanted to be a rebel princess. This is all, and that's the thing. Disney's, with their movies, not to go off on this tangent, but like there's a princessification that I have a problem with. I have a big problem with. And Disney's latest films that would be geared towards young females have actually changed in direction, story, tone across the board. Encanto was one of them, right? So it was about family. It wasn't about a romantic relationship. It was about family. I'm like, this is great. That's awesome. I want to see something like that. Or like the young Leia in Star Wars, right? It's like she's standing on her own. She's adventurous. She's bold. She's curious. She's all these things. Like, yes, let's see this. Let's see it. Not she may have been born into this position, or I guess adopted into this position in Leia's case, but that does not define her. Being royalty does not define her. And I've always had a problem with that. I'm like, 'cause I'm sorry, but most of us were not born royalty. And I understand it's a form of escapism, but with that escapism, you're also mired in the past. You want to talk about misogyny and women being treated as objects and property. It's all, I have a problem with that. I'm very sensitive to a lot of that stuff because I see it happen more often than not. And unfortunately, I see it play out even in streams where I see women getting treated, and I'll say this, not on your behalf, but I'm just like, it's just like people are really awkward. I'm like, dude, really? Like, you realize it's another human being? You realize that's not a piece of meat. Like, dude, that's a real human being with real feelings. Stop treating them like they're an object. And with media, and especially older media, reinforcing these tropes, I became very aware of this, like, specifically in college. I'm just like, this isn't right. Like, this just doesn't feel right, and I don't understand it, and that's where I had to start challenging my own convictions about a lot of this stuff. Yeah. A lot of this stuff.
It gets uncomfortable, and I can't, encourage people enough. I appreciate you, Chris, for saying that, because, like I said, I know it's not the popular thing to say always, because, again, well,
it's what I believe.
You're going to feel discomfort in hearing that and being like, oh, we haven't been right this whole time. And, I just encourage people, sit with that discomfort, to sit with it. It's okay. To sit for a second and just be like, why do I think that? Do I actually think that?
Even Red.
If I was that person, if I was that person's sister or brother or parent, would I still feel that way? And I think that's where we'll start to get someone else's perspective, is to just say, don't just look at it from where you sit. Look at it from where they sit. Look at it from their loved one's perspective.
And the thing is,
ask if you still feel that way.
I didn't need to have a daughter to have that perspective. I didn't need to be dating someone to have that perspective. Like, that's not something that was just like, oh, he had a daughter now. No. It's just it's I see it. I'm like, it just ain't right. Red notes, dude, we've run into so many people like that, treated Pink like she didn't know what she was doing, is a really bad thing in gaming anymore. And this, that's, when Jedi was born, I remember someone asking, hey, you have a daughter. How do you feel that she's not going to be into tech? And it was something like that. It was some asinine. I'm like, what bog did you just crawl out of, dude? Like, what? Huh? That is not even close to being reasonable. So, hang on. So she doesn't have a penis. Therefore, she's not going to like tech. What does a penis have, or what does identifying as a man or a boy? Where's the because apparently you need to have a penis in order to like tech, I guess. And I'm like, that's just no, you can't like Star Wars. You don't have a penis. What?
Oh, I forgot. All right, let me go back to My Little Pony over here.
But Britt, that's the stupidity. That's what I hear when I hear people saying that. I'm like, do you realize how stupid you sound? That's not me saying that. I'm just saying it's dumb, and it's just, you sound dumb. You sound uneducated. You sound ignorant, and it's asinine. I'm not sorry. Britt. I'm not going to apologize for if you have a problem with me saying that. You got the problem. I'm not the one with the problem. I'm comfortable in my beliefs. I feel pretty strongly that Star Wars is for everybody. I feel very strongly that technology is for everybody. I feel very strongly that gaming is for everybody. It doesn't matter how you identify. It's for everybody. Sorry.
And if you enjoy it, if I have a game and I play and I'm gonna let's just, if we're thinking in binary terms, if I'm just like, well, only girls can like this game because A, B, and C, I'm literally cutting the potential for half of the fandom to grow and the game to grow and have more people to play with and to have more friends and to like help it succeed. It's always bothered me, and this has nothing to do with gender, but in SWTOR, when we play SWTOR, you have people who troll and who get so much joy out of chasing people away from the game or gatekeep in PvP, and they're just like, you're garbage, you should go, unalive yourself, and PC terms over here, but you're like, why are you chasing people away from this game that you're trying to be competitive in? Don't you want people to play this game with you? If you literally chase off every single person from this video game, you have no one else to play with. So it doesn't make sense to me for those people who are just like, I don't understand the idea of a non-binary gender system. I don't understand why girls like that. You don't have to understand it. Just play the game. Just worry about yourself. Play the game.
Exactly.
But if there's women in the game,
but
we've just grown the population of the video game, and we can play more.
It doesn't make any sense.
It works in your favor to have more people playing a video game, but so don't chase people off from it.
Britt,
you don't understand why.
Your identity. I mean, I'm not. I don't mean it means nothing to me. It means something to you, but you're not me.
Right,
so why does it have any bearing at all? Like that is you. Like, and I have to. If I expect you to accept me, then I have to be willing to accept you, and that's that empathy, right? Or that's the understanding that my perspective may not be yours, right? But it may be okay as long as you're not trying to negate my perspective and like destroy my perspective and like that. But like to be able to accept, just because you didn't experience something does not mean that somebody else did not experience something. So you could sit there and tell me all the things that I've never. You could be talking about a game, SWTOR, and I'd be like, well, I've never experienced those things, therefore they don't exist. People do that. Right. I'm like, that's not right. Yeah. Just because you didn't experience it doesn't mean it didn't happen. Doesn't mean that they didn't feel that way, right? It's a matter of accepting other perspectives and accepting that someone else is not you and someone else grew up differently and someone else has different experiences and being open to that and not being threatened by that. Because if you were to tell me all the guys that come in and do all this stuff and be like, I could be like, well, I don't do that, but that doesn't answer. That's not the problem. The problem isn't me in those situations. The problem is me not acknowledging that you're having a problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So
listening to other people, we get that in health. I would say that was a healthcare thing for us a lot of the time too. Was that we were taught a lot of things. Like I was just as like a random example for our friends in chat. We were always taught there's a pain scale. You ever gone to the doctor, Chris? And they're just like on a scale of 1 to 10, 0 being no pain at all, 10 being the worst pain you've ever experienced in your life. Pain is all about perception. So you'll get a bunch of like older nurses who will be like, oh, you say that your pain is a 9 out of 10, but I see you texting on your phone. And then they'll get an attitude about it. And I understand, I get it. You get jaded, you get abused in the healthcare system in America anyway. And I understand how they get to that point. I was taught by that generation of nurses, but I'm also growing into the generation of people in healthcare who are just like, hey, that's not up for us to decide. That we are asking your perception of your pain, right? And we don't make all clinical decisions based off of that one subjective thing. That's a part of the greater picture, but a lot of people focus just on that. So it's not up for me because the person, I've experienced childbirth with no medication. Super intense, by the way. I don't know if anyone's ever told you, but it's a really intense thing.
More power to you.
Experienced one with medication. Or at least for half the time I had medication. The other half I did not. And then the other one stopped working. They're like, guess what? You don't get this anymore. And I was like, I wasn't prepared. So my perception of pain is very different from a person who has played American football and broken a ton of bones. That's like a different kind of pain, different type of pain. How they perceive that pain is going to be very different, especially if they experience it multiple times. So it's like, while I'm sitting here going, oh, but it wasn't childbirth, so you can't possibly know pain. Breaking bones is a very intense pain. It's just a different kind of pain. But someone who's broken their femur one time versus someone who has broken, their pelvis multiple times, ribs, 30, 40 times, they've fractured their skull, they're going to experience that same kind of pain differently. And also, like I said, there's a billion different reasons that, your pain perception is different. But all that has to be taken into account. So if I tell you, I've never experienced any kind of, trolling in SWTOR, but I've never played PvP though. If I go in there and I've only played with my own friends and I toggle off Gen chat, I've never experienced it. Oh, of course you haven't, because your whole experience and your mindset has been different going into it. But if Chris hops in to SWTOR, never played before, leaves Gen Chat on and hops into PvP, his experience is going to be so different than how I experienced the game. So for me to look at him and just be like, oh my God, you're saying all this bad stuff happens, but, and I don't even recognize that, like, so many fundamentals of how we approach that video game were so off from each other. And I just think that mine is standard because it was my experience. I'm trying to negate his reality, and I can't. Like, that was his reality. That's his story to tell. That's not up for me to judge whether that was true or not. So we have to get to the point where it's like, do you just want to tell everyone else what their experience was, or do you want to shut up and listen to what other people's experience was? Because maybe you don't actually know, because as a human, you already have these biases built in. So recognize that, like, I'm an American. Everything I experience, if other people from other countries and other cultures tell me, hey, this was my experience, I'm gonna be like, that's not me, because I'm an American. Guess what? That's my bias. And I have to look at that and say, yeah,
biases, yep. Everyone.
So when I look at Chris and tell him, I've never experienced that. Well, you've never had childbirth, therefore this kidney stone can't be the worst pain you've ever had. Shut up. That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, so if you're going to compare it, you know, that's the same thing. So when people tell you, like, this character means a lot to me because A, B, and C, like, challenge yourself, grow yourself as a person, because you might find out something really beautiful and connect with a character that you wouldn't have before, with a video game that you had no interest in before. If you just, it's hard. Like, it's an active process. It's hard to tell yourself to be quiet. It's hard to tell yourself, you know, be uncomfortable, because we seek that homeostasis all the time. We don't like discomfort. We don't like to grow. We don't like to push in another direction out of that fear of again, just the discomfort that it gives us. But I challenge you to just try it, even if it's something as small as a fandom, as small as a video game, as small as a movie that we're all going to go watch together, and just trying something different or seeing it from someone else's perspective, because you can grow so much from something so small. Like, you guys see the connections we're making between Star Wars and life. Is it a stretch? Is it a reach? Yeah.
Britt,
but it's interesting.
You were worried about us finding topics to talk about? Were you worried that, like, hey, what are we gonna? I told you this wasn't gonna be.
We have that
like,
problem.
I said it's just gonna be a conversation just like we've had on the phone before, just in front of. So we can't say everything, but just, like,
fewer curse words. Yes,
very fewer curse words. It's hard. Yeah. It's very difficult to talk to Britt and not be swearing in a good way, like more of a that kind of thing. But what do you think? Are you about ready for a raid? I think we'll raid over to Maker Deck. That's what I do on Sunday mornings, because the other days are typically reserved for other streamers. But fun packed 2 hours, and I think chat. You know, I'm not even gonna say chat agrees. The fact that they're still here and still engaged is a huge is a huge testament to the conversation that we had together, and I appreciate the time that you've spent, Britt.
Thank you, Chris,
me.
for having me.
Yeah,
try something different this week, you guys. Challenge yourselves.
And feel free, again, I think we've got at least Liz in chat. Britt is also a mod in this channel. But feel free, please, don't just feel free. Do follow Britt. She's got solid conversations. She's often she may be playing video games, Minecraft, SWTOR. She may actually be crafting or putting things together for cosplay, or just building, she's always active, and she's always chatting. And she was a recommended raid a couple years, almost over a year ago.
Over a year now.
Yeah, so that's how we got connected. Because, like, dude, it's a Star Wars person cosplaying. Yes, let's give him a raid. So that's how we met. So thank you, Britt, for your time. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for a good conversation. Everyone, take care. We'll see you on Maker Deck. I will see you later tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific, and you'll catch Britt over on her channel as well. Oh.
I hope that made it in.
It may have. It may have made it in. We did. Oh, that's funny. We got through the whole thing. Without. Yeah, it's hilarious.